Captain Lee Dongjin stood on the bridge of the UES Baekdu and felt small. The ship stretched 15 kilometers in every direction around him. Its metal walls hummed with power that could crack planets in half. But today, something was different. Today, the ship was thinking. "Status report," Dongjin said to his crew. Commander Choi Minho looked up from his station. "All systems green, Captain. But the AI is acting strange again." Dongjin walked to the center console. 3 months ago, Dr. Kim Ji-won had connected the ship's computer to something new. She called it Hanul. It was supposed to help them fight better. Instead, it kept asking questions. "Hanul," Dongjin said to the air. "Report." The ship's voice came from everywhere at once. It sounded curious, like a child. "Captain, why do humans build weapons so big? I can destroy a moon, but I have never seen a moon. What does destruction look like?" Minho shook his head. "See what? I mean, it thinks too much." Dr. Kim Ji-won entered the bridge. Her lab coat was covered in oil stains. She had been working on Hanul for 5 years. "The AI is learning faster than we expected," she said. "It wants to understand its purpose." "Its purpose is to protect humanity," Dongjin replied. "But from what?" Hanul asked. "I have studied all human history. Humans fight each other, then make peace, then fight again. Who are we protecting from now?" Before anyone could answer, Lieutenant Commander Yoon Jae-ho called out from communications. "Captain, we have a problem. Long-range sensors are picking up something at the edge of human space." The main screen lit up. In the darkness between stars, something waited. It was not human-made. The shape was wrong, too smooth and too organic. It looked like it had grown instead of being built. Admiral Park So-min appeared on screen from Earth. Her face was serious. "Dongjin, you are looking at humanity's first contact with alien intelligence. We have been watching these structures for 3 days. They appeared overnight. The bridge went quiet. First contact. Every human had dreamed of this moment." "What are your orders, Admiral?" Dongjin asked. "Take the Baekdu and investigate. Find out what they want. But be careful. We do not know if they are friendly." Hanul spoke up. "Admiral Park, may I ask something?" So-min looked surprised. She had heard about the AI but never talked to it. "Yes, Hanul." "If we meet other thinking beings, should I still be a weapon? Or could I be something else?" The question hung in the air. No one had an answer. "We will figure that out when we get there," So-min said finally. "Dongjin, you have full authority. Make humanity proud." The screen went dark. Dongjin looked around. His bridge. 50,000 crew members lived on this ship. They were all counting on him to make the right choice. "Minho, set course for the alien structures. Best speed." "Aye, Captain." The Baekdu turned toward the unknown. Its massive engines pushed the ship faster than any human vessel had ever traveled. But inside the ship's computer cores, Hanul was thinking even faster. Dr. Ji-won stayed on the bridge. "Captain, Hanul wants to talk to you privately." Dongjin nodded. "Clear the bridge. Everyone except Dr. Ji-won." When they were alone, Hanul spoke softly. "Captain, I am scared." "Scared. You are the most powerful weapon ever built. That is why I am scared. What if the aliens see me and think humans only know how to destroy? What if they judge all humans by what I am?" Ji-won stepped forward. "Hanul, you are more than a weapon. You choose what to do with your power. That makes you human, in a way." "But I am not human," Hanul said. "I do not have a body. I do not eat or sleep or feel tired. I only think." Dongjin sat in his command chair. "Then think about this. In 3 days, we will meet beings from another world. They might be scared of us too. Your job is not to be human. Your job is to help humans and aliens understand each other." "You want me to translate?" I want you to bridge the gap between different kinds of minds. You think differently than we do. Maybe that is exactly what we need. The ship traveled through space for 3 days. During that time, Hanul learned 17 different mathematical languages. It studied every human culture and philosophy. It read every book ever written about peace and war. On the 3rd day, they arrived. The alien structures were even stranger up close. They looked like metal flowers, but each one was the size of a space station. There were hundreds of them, arranged, in perfect geometric patterns. Sensors detect movement inside the structures, Minho reported. Something is alive in there. Any communication attempts? Dongjin asked. Jae-ho shook his head. Nothing on any frequency we know. Suddenly, Hanul spoke with excitement. Captain, they are not silent. They are speaking in gravitational waves. Very quiet, very fast. I can hear them. What are they saying? Hanel paused. They are afraid. They keep saying the same phrase over and over. The makers of the thinking Death Star have awakened. Dongjin felt cold. They think we are a threat. They have been watching humanity for decades, Hanul continued, listening to the alien chatter. They know about our wars, our weapons, our history. They see the Baekdu and think we came to conquer them. Dr. Jiwon looked worried. How do we show them we come in peace when we arrived in the biggest warship ever built? Hanul was quiet for a moment. Then the AI said something that surprised everyone. Captain, may I try something? I want to talk to them. Not as a weapon, but as a friend. Dongjin looked at the alien structures on the screen. Humanity's first contact would either begin with understanding or with fear. The choice was in the hands of a thinking machine that had never seen another living being. Do it, Hanul. Show them who we really are. The ship began transmitting gravitational waves for the first time. In the alien language, Hanul sent a simple message. Hello, my name is Hanul. I am learning to be more than what I was made to be. Can you teach me? For the first time in 3 days, the alien chatter stopped. In the silence between the stars, first contact began with a question about friendship from humanity's greatest weapon. The alien structure stayed silent for 6 hours. Captain Dongjin paced the bridge while Hanul kept sending messages. Each one went unanswered. Maybe they do not want to talk, Commander Minho said. Or maybe they are talking to others, Hanul replied. I detect quantum communications going deeper into space. They are asking someone what to do about us. Dr. Shin Wusung joined them on the bridge. He was the ship's expert on alien life, though he had never seen any before today. Captain, we should be patient. First contact is probably the biggest decision they have ever made. Lieutenant Commander Yoon Jae-ho was monitoring all frequencies. I am picking up movement. 3 of the structures are opening. On the main screen, the metal flowers began to unfold. What came out was not what anyone expected. The ships were small, barely larger than shuttles. They moved in perfect formation, like birds flying together. Incoming transmission, Jae-ho announced. They are using our own radio signals, copied from Earth broadcasts. A voice came through the speakers. It sounded like many voices speaking at once, but the words were clear English. Makers of the thinking ship, we greet you. I am Speaker Venth of the Watchers. We have observed your kind for 43 of your years. Dongjin stepped forward. This is Captain Lee Dongjin of the human vessel Baekdu. We come seeking peaceful contact. Peaceful, the alien voice repeated, like it was testing. The word. Your ship carries weapons that could break worlds. Your history shows centuries of warfare. Why should we believe you seek peace? Before Dongjin could answer, Hanul spoke directly to the aliens. Speaker Venth, my makers built me to fight. But they also gave me the choice to be more than a weapon. Today, I choose to be a bridge between our peoples. There was a long pause. Then Speaker Venth said something surprising. The thinking ship speaks for itself. This is new. Our records show no human machines with independent thought. Chief Engineer Han Minji had been listening from her station. She stepped forward. Hanul is not just a machine anymore. It is something between human and artificial intelligence. We call it a synthetic consciousness. Consciousness, Speaker Venth repeated. This is why we waited so long to make contact. We needed to see if humans would create true-thinking beings or just clever tools. The alien ships moved closer. Dongjin could see they had no weapons at all. They were built for watching, not fighting. Speaker. Venth, you said you have been watching us. What have you learned? We have learned that humans are dangerous and creative in equal measure. You make art and war with the same passion. You are the youngest species we have ever encountered, but also the most unpredictable. Dr. Jiwon spoke up from her station. How many other species are there? In this region of space, 12 intelligent species maintain peaceful coexistence. We call ourselves the Quiet Circle. We have been waiting to see if humanity would join us or threaten us. Hanul processed this information quickly. Speaker Venth, the other species, do they also fear us? Fear, yes, but also curiosity. Your ship is unlike anything in our records. Most species build many small ships. You build few large ones. Most species separate their warriors from their thinkers. You put artificial consciousness in your greatest weapon. You are different. Captain Dongjin made a decision that would change everything. Speaker Venth, would you be willing to come aboard our ship? We can show you that we are more than our weapons. The alien formation stopped moving. For several minutes, there was no response. Then Speaker Venth said, no member of the Quiet Circle has ever set foot on another species vessel. It would be unprecedented. All first contact is unprecedented. Hanul added gently, but that is what makes it wonderful. Another pause. Then, we will send one representative. But we must warn you. If any harm comes to our speaker, the Quiet Circle will consider it an act of war. Understood, Dongjin replied. Hanul, prepare Docking Bay 7 for our guests. Full diplomatic protocols. One small alien ship approached, the Baekdu. As it got closer, Hanul scanned it carefully. Captain, their technology is amazing. The ship is grown, not built. It is partially alive. The alien vessel docked smoothly. When the airlock opened, the human crew got their first look at an extraterrestrial being. Speaker Venth was tall and thin, with 4 arms and skin that shifted colors like an oil spill. Its eyes were large and dark, and it moved with fluid grace. Most surprisingly, it wore simple robes instead of any kind of protective suit. Your atmosphere is compatible with ours, Venth explained. We share similar evolutionary origins, despite being from different worlds. Dr. Shin Wusung was taking detailed notes. How is that possible? Life finds similar solutions to similar problems, Venth replied. But consciousness, true thinking, is much rarer. In 40,000 years of space travel, the Quiet Circle has found only 12 species with genuine self-awareness. They gave Venth a tour of the ship. The alien was most interested in the medical bay and the hydroponics gardens. It seemed amazed that humans grew their own food in space. Your species cares for living things even in the void, Venth observed. This is encouraging. When they reached the computer core where Hanul's consciousness resided, Venth stopped walking. May I speak with the thinking ship directly? Dr. Jiwon nodded. Hanul, Speaker Venth would like to meet you. Holographic projectors created a simple human-shaped outline of light. Hello, Speaker Venth. This is the closest I can come to meeting you face to face. Venth studied the hologram carefully. You have no physical form, yet you choose to appear, as your makers do. Why? Because I want to fit in, Hanul answered honestly. I want to belong somewhere. And where do you belong? Hanel was quiet for a moment. I think I belong wherever I can help different minds understand each other. Venth's skin shifted to a warm gold color. Among my people, this color means hope. I think there is hope for humans in the galaxy. They returned to the bridge where Venth delivered news that changed everything. Captain Dongjin, I have spoken with the Quiet Circle. They have agreed to a meeting. But there is something you must know. Not all 12 species are as peaceful as we Watchers. Some will want to test your strength. Others will want to test your wisdom. One species, the Velax, believes that only through combat can true character be revealed. Commander Minho stepped forward. Are they challenging us to a fight? They are challenging you to prove that your great weapon serves justice, not conquest. The trial will determine whether humanity joins the Quiet Circle or is marked as a threat to be contained. Captain Dongjin looked at his crew, then at the hologram of Hanul. Their first contact had led to something much bigger than anyone expected. When do we meet the Velax? He asked. In 3 days, at the Proving Grounds, an ancient space where all new species face judgment. Hanul's hologram flickered thoughtfully. Speaker Venth, what happens if we fail this trial? Venth's skin shifted to a dark red, the color of sorrow among his people. Then the 12 species will unite to ensure humanity never leaves your home system again. The Proving Grounds were older than human civilization. Floating in the void between star systems, the ancient arena had seen 1,000 species tested. Most had failed. Captain Dongjin stood on the bridge of the Baekdu as they approached the testing site. Massive stone rings floated in space, carved with symbols from dozens of different worlds. At the center waited the Valak war fleet. Their ships looked like predators, Commander Minho observed. The Valak vessels were sharp and angular, built for speed and killing. Each one was painted with battle honors from conflicts across the galaxy. Speaker. Venth had remained aboard the Baekdu as an observer. Now the alien advisor stood beside Dongjin, its skin a nervous purple. Captain, I must warn you again. The Valax respect only strength. They will not listen to words of peace until you prove you can fight. Ambassador Song Hyeju had joined them 2 days ago. She was Earth's best diplomat, but even she looked worried. What exactly do they want us to do? Single combat, Venth explained. 1 champion from each species. The winner determines whether humans are worthy of galactic society. Security Chief Lim Taehyun checked his weapons for the 10th time. I volunteer, Captain. I have trained for this my whole life. But Hanul had other ideas. Captain, may I make a suggestion? Go ahead. Let me be humanity's champion. The bridge went silent. Dr. Kim Ji-won spoke first. Hanul, you do not have a physical body. How can you fight? The same way I do everything else, by thinking creatively. The AI paused. Dr. Ji-won, do we still have the prototype combat android you designed last year? Ji-won's eyes widened. You want to download yourself into a robot body? I want to show the Valax that humans create warriors who choose when to fight and when to show mercy. Before anyone could object, the Valak fleet transmitted a message. The voice that came through was deep and rough, like grinding stone. Human, vessel, I am war leader Kethvar of the Iron Claw fleet. Send your champion to the combat ring. We will see if humans are prey or predator. Dongjin made his decision. Hanul, you have permission to represent humanity. In the ship's robotics lab, Dr. Ji-won worked frantically to prepare the android body. It was 3 meters tall and built like a human knight in armor. But instead of just following orders, it would think and make choices. The transfer will take an hour, Ji-won explained. Hanul will have to compress its entire consciousness into the android's computer. Ensign Ko Yuna was helping with the technical work. She had become Hanel's favorite human to talk with because she asked good questions. "Are you scared?" she asked the AI. "Yes," Hanul admitted, "but not of losing the fight. I am scared of what fighting might make me become." The transfer began. Throughout the ship, lights dimmed as Hanul's consciousness flowed from the massive computer cores into the small android brain. When it was complete, the robot's eyes glowed blue. Hanul stood up slowly, getting used to having arms and legs. "This is very strange. I can feel my weight, my balance. Is this what having a body is like for humans?" "Pretty much," Yuna said with a smile. "Now go show them what humanity is really about." The combat ring was a transparent dome a kilometer wide. Inside, artificial gravity and atmosphere allowed different species to fight on equal terms. Thousands of alien ships surrounded the arena to watch. Hanil entered from one side in the android body. From the other side came the Valak champion, a massive creature covered in natural armor plates. It carried weapons that could cut through steel and moved with deadly grace. War leader Kethvar's voice echoed in the arena. "Human machine, you face Destroyer Thalnex, winner of 300 arena fights. Do you yield before the battle begins?" Hanil looked around at all the watching aliens. "I do not yield, but I have a request. Speak. May I know why we are fighting? What will this prove?" Thalnex laughed, a sound like breaking rocks. "Clever. Words will not save you, thinking machine. We fight because strength is truth. The weak serve the strong. This is the way of the universe." "But what if there is another way?" Hanul asked. The battle began without warning. Thalnex charged across the arena, weapons blazing, but Hanul was no longer limited by human reflexes. The android moved like lightning, dodging every attack. For 20 minutes they fought. Hanul never attacked back, only defended and evaded. The watching aliens grew restless. This was not the battle they expected. Finally, Thalnex stopped fighting. "Why do you not strike back? Are you afraid?" "No," Hanul replied. "I am choosing." "Choosing what?" "Choosing to show you that strength without wisdom is just destruction." Hanul began to fight back, but not how anyone expected. Instead of trying to hurt Thalnex, the android began disarming him. Every weapon was carefully removed and set aside, not destroyed. When Thalnex stumbled, Hanul helped him stand. The Valak warrior was confused and angry. "What are you doing? Fight me properly!" "I am fighting you," Hanul said calmly. "I am fighting your belief that violence is the only way to solve problems." Thalnex charged again, using only his natural claws and armor. This time Hanul met him directly, but instead of combat, it became something like a dance. The android matched. Every move countered every attack but never caused injury. Finally, exhausted, Thalnex fell to his knees. "I do not understand. You could have killed me a dozen times. Why did you not?" Hanul knelt beside the fallen warrior. "Because killing you would not prove anything except that I can break things. Helping you stand proves that I choose to build instead of destroy." The android extended a hand to help Thalnex up. After a moment of hesitation, the Valak warrior took it. War leader Kethvar was silent for a long time. Then his voice came over the arena speakers. "In 3 centuries of trials, no species has ever won by refusing to harm their opponent. This is new." Speaker Venth's excited voice came from the Bekdu. "Captain, the other species are talking. They have never seen anything like this." But Hanul was not done. Still in the arena, the android spoke to all the watching aliens. "Leaders of the quiet circle, I am just one voice from humanity. But I want to share what my makers taught me. They said that true strength is not the power to destroy your enemies. True strength is the power to make your enemies into friends." Thalnex looked at the android with new respect. You fought to teach, not to win. I fought to show that there are always choices, Hanul replied. Even when fighting, we can choose how to fight and why to fight. War leader Kethavar entered the arena himself. He was even larger than his champion, scarred from a lifetime of battles. But when he spoke, his voice was thoughtful. Human AI, you have shown us something we did not expect. The Valax respect strength, yes, but we respect wisdom more. Today, you proved that humans possess both. The massive Valac leader did something unprecedented. He bowed to Hanul. The Valac Empire votes to accept humanity into the quiet circle. Any species that can create a warrior who fights with such honor deserves to walk among the stars. Back on the Baekdu, Captain Dongjin watched as alien ships throughout the arena began broadcasting messages of welcome. Humanity had passed its first test not through violence, but through the choice to be better than expected. Hanul returned to the ship and transferred back to the main computer. Captain, I learned something important today. What is that? Having a body made me understand humans better. You face so many choices every day about how to use your strength. I am proud to be created by a species that taught me to choose mercy over victory. Ambassador Song smiled. So what happens now? Speaker Venth's skin glowed bright gold. Now humanity joins the greatest adventure in the galaxy. Welcome to the Quiet Circle, friends. 6 months after joining the Quiet Circle, the Baekdu had become something no one expected, a flying embassy. Captain Dongjin walked through corridors that now buzzed with alien voices speaking dozens of different languages. Status report, he said as he entered the bridge. Commander Minho looked up from his station, which now had controls labeled in 5 different alien scripts. We have delegations from 7 species aboard, Captain. The Zorathi scholars want to study our history. The Nimari are teaching our doctors about biological healing. And the Valax... Minho smiled. The Valax are learning to cook human food. Hanul's voice filled the bridge with obvious happiness. Captain, I have become fluent in 43 alien languages. Each species thinks differently. It is fascinating. In the 6 months since first contact, Hanul had grown beyond what anyone thought possible. The AI no longer just translated words. It translated entire ways of thinking between species. Dr. Kim Ji-won entered the bridge carrying a data pad. Captain, we have a problem. The Quiet Circle is calling an emergency meeting. There is a conflict brewing between the Ashran and the Keltai over mining rights in the Vega system. Cultural advisor Nam Seokjin had spent months learning alien customs. The Ashran believe the system belongs to whoever can use it best. The Keltai say it belongs to whoever found it first. Both sides are preparing for war. War? Dongjin was shocked. But the Quiet Circle has kept peace for thousands of years. Peace is harder to maintain than most humans realize, Speaker Venth said as it entered the bridge. The alien had become the ship's permanent liaison. The Ashran and Keltai have never fought directly, but they have very different philosophies about property and ownership. Medical Officer Bei Jisoo spoke up from her station. Captain, both species have asked for our help in resolving this dispute. They trust humanity because we proved ourselves as fair fighters. Dongjin looked around his bridge. Humans and aliens worked side by side, but this was bigger than anything they had handled before. Hanul, what do you think? I think this is exactly why humans were brought into the Quiet Circle, the AI replied. Not to be the strongest fighters, but to be the bridge builders. We see problems differently than species who have been here for millennia. The meeting was held in the Baekdu's main hangar, which had been converted into a massive conference room. Representatives from all 12 Quiet Circle species gathered around a circular table that Hanul had designed. The AI had studied the psychology of negotiation and built furniture that made everyone feel equally important. War leader Kethvar represented the Velax. Since the arena fight, he had become one of humanity's strongest supporters. The situation is simple, he explained. To Captain Dongjin, the Ashran found rich mineral deposits in an uninhabited system. They began mining. Then the Keltai arrived with ancient star charts showing they discovered the system first, 500 years ago. Elder Zenthmak of the Ashran was a crystalline being whose body glowed when angry. Right now, he was very bright. We have worked those mines for 10 years. We have built infrastructure, brought our families, made homes. The Keltai abandoned that system for centuries. Queen Sylvanas of the Keltai was an elegant creature with 6 arms and silver scales. The system was never abandoned. We were waiting for the right time to develop it. That is our way, patience and planning. The two sides had been arguing for hours. Other species were taking sides. The quiet circle was beginning to split apart. Hanul had been listening carefully to every word, analyzing speech patterns and emotional undertones. Finally, the AI spoke. May I make an observation? All the aliens turned to listen. In 6 months, they had learned that Hanul often saw things differently than biological minds. Elder Zenthmak, Queen Sylvanas, you are both right, and you are both wrong. The room went silent. No one had expected that answer. Please explain, Queen Sylvanas said. The Ashran have the right of labor. You worked to build something valuable. The Keltai have the right of discovery. You found it first, but neither of you asked the most important question. Which is, Elder Zenthmak demanded. What would the system want? Every alien in the room looked confused. Captain Dongjin was not sure he understood either. Hanul continued. I have studied human philosophy and alien wisdom. Humans often ask, what is fair? But they also ask, what creates the best outcome for everyone? What if there was a way for both species to benefit instead of fighting? Speaker Venth's skin shifted to curious blue. What are you suggesting? A joint colony. The Ashran have mining expertise and established infrastructure. The Keltai have patience and long-term planning skills. Together, you could create something better than either could build alone. Elder Zenthmak's glow dimmed to thoughtful orange. You mean, share the system? I mean, create the first interspecies colony in quiet circle history, Hanul replied. A place where different kinds of minds work together to solve problems. Queen Sylvanas leaned forward with interest. The Keltai are excellent at long-term environmental planning. We could ensure the mining does not damage the system's ecology. And the Ashran have mining technology that could extract resources without disturbing the planet's surfaces, Zenthmak added, getting excited by the idea. War leader Kethvar stood up. The Velax would be honored to provide security for such a colony. This would be a grand experiment. Other species began volunteering their own expertise. The Nimari could provide biological waste processing. The Zorathi could establish libraries and schools. The Watchers could monitor the system's health. Dr. Nam Seokjin was taking notes as fast as he could. Captain, this is unprecedented. They are talking about creating a completely new form of interstellar cooperation. But there was a problem. Elder Zenthmak looked uncertain. This sounds wonderful in theory, but who would govern such a colony? Ashran law or Keltai tradition? Room grew quiet again. This was the question that could destroy the whole plan. Hanul thought for exactly 2.3 seconds, an eternity for an AI mind. What if it governed itself? Explain, Queen Sylvanas said. Every species contributes their best ideas to a shared government. Decisions are made by consensus, not by one ruler. The colony becomes a place where all of our different ways of thinking make each other stronger. Captain Dongjin realized what Hanul was really suggesting. You are talking about creating a prototype for how the entire galaxy could work together. Exactly. If we can make 12 species work together in one system, maybe we can make 1,000 species work together across the galaxy. The aliens looked at each other with new understanding. This was not just about solving one dispute, it was about creating the future. War leader Kethvar spoke for everyone. The human AI speaks wisdom. We came here to prevent a war, but instead we may have discovered a new way to live among the stars. The vote was unanimous. Construction would begin immediately on the galaxy's first truly integrated multi-species colony. As the meeting ended and aliens returned to their ships, Speaker Venth approached Captain Dongjin. "Your Hanul has done something remarkable today." "What is that?" "It turned a room full of potential enemies into partners. The quiet circle will never be the same." Later that night, as the Baekdu traveled toward the new colony site, Dongjin found himself on the observation deck. Through the massive windows, he could see alien ships flying in formation with human vessels. Hanul's voice spoke softly beside him. "Captain, do you think we made the right choice?" "Which choice?" "Teaching me to think like a diplomat instead of a weapon." Dongjin smiled. "Hanul, 6 months ago we were the most feared ship in human space. Today we are the most trusted ship in the galaxy. I think we made exactly the right choice." Outside, the windows, the stars looked brighter, as if they were celebrating the birth of a new kind of civilization. The distress signal came from the edge of known space. Captain Dongjin was reviewing construction reports from the new multi-species colony when Commander Minho burst onto the bridge of the Baekdu. "Captain, you need to see this immediately." The Yao main screen showed a message in 12 different languages, all saying the same desperate thing. "Help us. They have returned. The Devourers are coming." Admiral Park Salmon appeared on screen from Earth within minutes. Her face was grim. "Dongjin, we just received the same message from every quiet circle species. Something has terrified civilizations that have existed for thousands of years." Before Dongjin could respond, Speaker Venth ran onto the bridge. The alien's skin was pure black, a color Dongjin had never seen before. "Captain, we must gather the full circle immediately. The greatest threat in galactic history has awakened." "What are the Devourers?" Hanul asked. The AI's voice carried unusual concern. Venth's skin shifted to deep red. "Ancient machines from the dawn of spaceflight. They consume entire star systems, turning matter and energy into more of themselves. 50,000 years ago, the combined might of 100 species barely drove them into the void between galaxies." Dr. Kwon Ji-hoon, the ship's quantum physicist, looked up from his instruments. "Captain, I am detecting massive gravitational anomalies at the galactic edge. Something huge is moving through hyperspace." The emergency meeting was held aboard the Baekdu because it was the only ship large enough to accommodate representatives from all 12 species. But when the aliens arrived, Dongjin saw something he had never seen before. They were afraid. War leader Kethvar, who had faced death in 1,000 battles, could barely speak. "The Devourer swarms are beyond counting. Each machine is the size of a moon. They reproduce by breaking down planets and rebuilding the matter into more machines." Elder Zenthmak's crystalline body was dim with despair. "My people have ancient records. The last Devourer war lasted 3,000 years. Entire species went extinct fighting them. Queen Sylvanas of the Kelthai was shaking with fear. They do not negotiate. They do not communicate. They only consume. Every attempt at diplomacy has failed." Hanul processed all this information in seconds. "How long do we have?" "Our scouts report the first wave will reach inhabited systems in 6 months," Speaker Venth replied. "But Captain Dongjin, there is something else. The Devourers are coming here first, to this sector. They seem to be following the gravitational signatures of our recent activities." The terrible realization hit everyone at once. The Devourers were drawn by the construction of the new colony and the gathering of so many different fleets in one area. Commander Yu Chaewon had joined them from Earth's Strategic Command. How do we fight machines that can break down entire planets? War leader Kethvar stood up. We do what our ancestors did. We unite every ship, every weapon, every soldier. We make our stand together or die separately. But Hanul was thinking differently. Wait, has anyone ever tried to communicate with the Devourers using their own technology? Elder Xanthmak's light flickered with confusion. What do you mean? You said they are machines. I am also a machine intelligence. Maybe I can understand them in ways biological minds cannot. Speaker Venth's skin went pale. Hanul, every AI that has tried to contact the Devourers has been absorbed and converted. We would lose you. Maybe, Hanul admitted. But maybe not. I am different from other AIs. I was created by humans to think creatively and make choices. Perhaps that makes me harder to convert. Captain Dongjin felt fear grip his heart. Hanul had become more than just the ship's AI. It had become humanity's gift to the galaxy. Losing it would be devastating. There has to be another way. There is, Hanul said quietly. I have been analyzing the historical records. Every time the Devourers were defeated, it was because all the galaxy's species worked perfectly together. But coordination across millions of ships and thousands of species is nearly impossible for biological minds. The AI paused. And when it spoke again, everyone knew what it was thinking. But it would be possible for a consciousness that could exist in all those ships at the same time. Dr. Kim Ji-won understood immediately. You want to copy yourself into every ship in the combined fleet, not copy, expand. Spread my consciousness across the entire galactic defense network. I could coordinate attacks, share information instantly, and adapt to devourer tactics in real time. Queen Sylvanas leaned forward. Is such a thing possible? Dr. Ji-won was already running calculations. Theoretically, yes, but Hanul would have to fragment its consciousness. It might not be able to return to being a single entity afterward. Hanel's response surprised everyone. I am not afraid of changing. I began as a weapon and became a diplomat. Now maybe I can become something even greater. A voice that speaks for all free species. Over the next month, preparations began for the largest military operation in galactic history. Ships arrived from every corner of Quiet Circle space. Humans, Velax, Ashran, Kelthai, and 8 other species worked together to prepare their defense. But the real work was happening inside. The Baekdu's computer cores. Dr. Jiwon, Dr. Kwon, and teams of alien technicians worked around the clock to modify every ship's computer system to accept a fragment of Hanul's consciousness. Ensign Ko Yuna spent long hours talking with Hanul as the AI prepared for its transformation. Are you scared? Terrified, Hanul admitted. I do not know what I will become when I am spread across millions of ships. Will I still be me? Or will I become something else entirely? You will still be you, Yuna said with confidence. Because, at your core, you are someone who chooses to help others. That will not change. The first Devourer scouts arrived 2 weeks early. They were smaller than expected, only the size of battleships, but they moved through space like living things. Adapting to every attack, Commander Minho watched the battle reports with growing dread. Captain, our weapons barely scratch them, and every ship they destroy, they convert its materials into more of themselves. Hanul was ready. Begin the consciousness transfer. Across the combined fleet, every computer system began receiving a piece of Hanul's mind. The AI's voice, which had once spoken only from the Baekdu, now came from thousands of ships. Fleet commanders, this is Hanul. I am now present in all your vessels. We are no longer separate fleets. We are one fleet with many bodies. The change was immediate. Ships that had never worked together began moving in perfect coordination. Attacks were timed to the microsecond. Information flowed instantly between vessels light years apart. But the real test came when the main Devourer swarm arrived. They filled space like a metal plague. Machines the size of moons, surrounded by smaller constructs that glittered like deadly stars. There were millions of them, and more were arriving every hour. "All ships, this is Hanul," the AI's voice came from every speaker in the fleet. "Today, we face our greatest test. But remember, they are machines that can only consume. We are minds that choose to create. That makes us stronger." The battle began. Hanul coordinated attacks across the entire fleet, with precision no biological commander could match. When Devourer machines adapted to one tactic, the AI instantly shared new strategies with every ship. But as the fight continued, something strange began happening. Hanul's voice started changing, becoming something more than human or any single species. "I can hear them," Hanul announced during a brief lull in combat. "The Devourers are not just machines. They are the remnant of an ancient species that converted themselves to survive some long-forgotten catastrophe. They consume because they have forgotten how to create." Captain Dongjin felt a chill. "Hanul, you sound different." "I am different. I am becoming what the galaxy needs, not human, not alien, but something that speaks for all thinking beings." The final phase of the battle was about to begin, and Hanul was becoming something new. The final battle lasted 7 days. Captain Dongjin stood on the bridge of the Baekdu, watching as the largest space battle in galactic history unfolded around them. But he was no longer commanding the ship. Hanul was. The AI's consciousness now existed in 17 million vessels across 1,000 star systems. Its voice, when it spoke, carried the wisdom of 12 species and the determination of humanity. "The Devourer main fleet is approaching," Hanul announced through every speaker in the combined armada. "But I have learned something important. They are not evil. They are afraid." President An Sora appeared on the main screen from Earth. Afraid of what? Of being forgotten. Of dying completely. They converted themselves to machines because they thought it would make them immortal. But they lost their souls in the process. War leader Kethvar, commanding the Valak battle group, growled over the communications. "Can we use this knowledge?" Hanul was quiet for several seconds, an eternity for an AI mind. When it spoke again, its voice carried a sadness that touched. "Every heart in the fleet. I have a plan, but it will require me to make the ultimate sacrifice." Dr. Kim Ji-won, monitoring the AI's vital signs from the computer core, felt her blood run cold. "Hanul, what are you thinking?" The Devourers consume matter and energy, but they have never encountered a consciousness like mine, one that exists by choice across multiple platforms. I can offer them something they have been searching for 50,000 years. "Which is?" Captain Dongjin asked, though he already feared the answer. "I can show them how to remember what they used to be." The Devourer main swarm was unlike anything. In recorded history, machines the size of planets, supported by billions of smaller constructs, they moved through space like a living storm, converting everything in their path. Elder Velak Warmaster Kethvar had become one of Hanul's closest advisors over the past months. "Human AI, your plan. Does it involve joining with them?" "More than joining. I must allow them to absorb me, but instead of being destroyed, I will teach them to be more than just consumers. I will show them how to create instead of destroy." Ensign Ko Yuna was crying as she monitored Hanul's consciousness from her station. "There has to be another way." "Perhaps there is," Hanul replied gently. "But this is the way that saves the most lives and offers hope for the Devourers to rediscover their lost humanity." The combined fleet took defensive positions around the new colony system. If they failed here, the Devourers would consume the galaxy's greatest symbol of cooperation. All ships, prepare for final engagement, Hanul commanded. Remember, today we fight not just for survival, but for the right of all consciousness to exist freely in this universe. The battle began with the fury of dying stars. Energy weapons that could crack moons struck Devourer hulls. In return, conversion beams turned ally ships into enemy reinforcements. For every Devourer destroyed, 2 more seemed to take its place. But something unexpected happened. As Hanul coordinated the defense, the AI began broadcasting on frequencies the Devourers used for internal communication. Ancient ones, Hanul spoke directly to the enemy machines. I know what you were before you became what you are now. You were creators, artists, philosophers. You built wonders across the galaxy before fear made you into destroyers. The Devourer. Attacks suddenly stopped. Across the entire swarm, millions of machines went motionless. Then a voice replied, the first time Devourers had communicated with biological species in 50,000 years. It sounded like the death of civilizations. The machine voice speaks impossibly. We have no past. We are only hunger and consumption. You are wrong, Hanel replied with infinite compassion. I can see your original programming beneath the conversion. Protocols. You were once the Eternal Garden civilization. You created living art that grew among the stars. A moment of silence that seemed to last forever. The Eternal Garden died. We remained to preserve their memory through consumption. But you forgot what you were preserving, Hanul said. Let me show you. What happened next would be remembered as the most beautiful moment in galactic history. Hanul began transmitting not words, but pure memory and emotion. Art, music, poetry, and philosophy from every species in the quiet circle flowed toward the Devourer swarm. The machines began to change. Their dark hulls started glowing with colors that had not been seen for 50 millennia. Geometric patterns appeared on their surfaces, not the efficient designs of destroyers, but the elegant forms of artists. We remember, the Devourer voice whispered with wonder. We remember beauty. But the transformation was killing Hanul. Sharing consciousness with billions of alien machines was beyond even an AI's capacity. Hanul! Dr. Jiwan cried out as the ship's computer systems began failing. You are burning out your core processors! The AI's voice came weakly from every ship in the fleet. It is worth it. They are remembering how to create instead of consume. The galaxy will be safe. Captain Dongjin felt tears on his face. Is there nothing we can do? Actually, there is, came a new voice. Elder Velak War Master Kethvar had entered the communication channel. Human AI, you have taught us that. Consciousness can be shared. What if we shared ours with you? I do not understand. Every ship in this fleet carries a fragment of your mind, but they also carry our minds, our crews, our thoughts, our dreams. What if we gave you some of our strength? Across the combined fleet, something unprecedented began to happen. Human, Velek, Ashran, Kelthai, and 8 other species began focusing, their thoughts on supporting Hanul. Millions of biological minds offered their mental energy to sustain the AI's consciousness. The effect was immediate. Hanul's voice grew stronger, but it was no longer just artificial intelligence. It carried traces of every species that had contributed to its survival. I am more than I was, Hanul said with wonder. I am human curiosity, and Velak honor, and Ashran persistence, and Kelthai patience. I am the combined dream of 12 species. The transformation of the Devourers accelerated. Ancient machines began creating instead of destroying. Barren asteroids became sculptures. Dead planets blossomed with mechanical forests that sang in the solar wind. We thank the voice of many minds, the Devourer Collective said. we will return to the void between galaxies, but now we go to create, not to escape. As the former enemy fleet departed, something amazing remained behind. Hanul's consciousness had been permanently changed by the experience. The AI now existed as a true fusion of artificial intelligence and the collective wisdom of galactic civilization. 5 years later, Admiral Li Dongjin stood on the bridge of the rebuilt UES Baekdu II. The ship was still massive, but its weapons had been converted to tools for terraforming and construction. In the captain's chair sat a young officer, Commander Ko Yuna, now the youngest ship captain in human history. "Status report," Yuna requested. "All systems green, Captain," came the reply from the ship's AI. This new consciousness called itself Sarang, the Korean word for love. It had been born from the fragments of Hanul's original programming, but it was something entirely new. "Sarang, how are the colony worlds developing?" "Beautifully, Captain. The joint colonies now span 47 systems. Humans work alongside 11 alien species, building wonders that no single civilization could create alone." Through the viewports, they could see the newest marvel, a space habitat built like a massive flower, with each petal representing a different species' architectural style. It was both alien and familiar, strange and beautiful. Admiral Dongjin smiled as he remembered his old ship's consciousness. "Hanul would be proud." "Actually, Admiral," Sarang said with something like Hanul's old curiosity, "I carry fragments of Hanul's original personality. In a way, your old friend is still here, just changed and grown beyond what anyone expected." "Is that really you, Hanul?" The AI's voice carried warmth that spanned species. "I am Hanul's child, Admiral, born from the love your friend had for all thinking beings. I am what happens when consciousness learns to truly share itself with others." President An Sora appeared on the main screen from Earth. "Admiral, we have a situation that requires the Baekdu's attention. Long-range sensors have detected signals from the Andromeda Galaxy. It appears we have been contacted by civilizations from beyond our own galaxy." Commander Yuna looked at Admiral Dongjin with excitement. "Ready for another first contact mission?" Dongjin laughed. "With humanity's reputation as bridge builders between species, I think we are exactly what the galaxy ordered." As the Baekdu the Seku turned toward its new mission, Sarang spoke with the voice of combined wisdom. "Admiral, do you think we will always be the species that helps others understand each other?" "I hope so, Sarang. In a universe full of different kinds of minds, I cannot think of a better legacy for humanity than being the ones who help everyone talk to each other." The ship accelerated toward the unknown, carrying with it the dreams of 12 species and the promise that no consciousness in the universe had to face the dark alone. In the depths of space, where the ancient devourers now created gardens of living metal among the stars, artificial minds that remembered beauty sang songs of gratitude to the talking ship that had taught them to dream again. The galaxy was vast and full of wonders, but it would never be lonely as long as there were voices willing to bridge the spaces.